Hello, my wonderful, amazing artists. It's me, Miss Abby, your art teacher. And today we are getting inspired by the Haitian American artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. Jean-Michel Basquiat's name sounds very French. And that is because his family traces their origins back to Haiti. His family, his parents, are Haitian immigrants. Jean-Michel Basquiat made his art available to both people who would visit art galleries and people who were just walking by, passing through a train station. And a lot of his art was inspired by memories of his childhood. I picked him out for our art class together for two reasons. The first reason is that he embraces the scribble dibble. A lot of his work is really awesome and powerful and interesting because he's using wild and crazy lines. And it must have been very satisfying for him to create those lines. The second reason is that he uses a lot of symbols in his artwork. And one of the symbols he uses is the crown. And I think that's a great inspiration for making a wearable artwork. Let's get started. We're getting inspired by the crowns that you see in a lot of Jean-Michel Basquiat's art. That is one of the symbols that he uses in his artwork to signify regalness and leadership and pride. And we're going to create crowns that have our own symbols on it. So for this, we're going to start the same way with our same crown base, and that's going to involve scissors, a pencil, and a glue stick. And then from there, you can decide how you decorate your crown. Okay, so first I'm going to get my crown base. I'm using one piece of paper, and I'm going to cut it in half, basically. So you can cut a straight line in half, or you can use a zigzaggy line, or even a wavy line would be kind of interesting. Let's try that, actually. See, I'm going to try a wavy line. I've never tried that before, and I'm very curious as to how it's going to look, because I did two zigzaggy lines. I'm going to cut it out, and I have two halves that I'm going to put together to make one whole crown. And I like how this wavy line came out. It was an experiment, and I think it worked out pretty well. It reminds me a bit of the ocean. I'm going to put a thin layer of glue. You can use this, you can use tape, or the squeeze bottle. I just like the glue stick. And I'm putting a thin, shiny layer. I always say glue is a bit like butter. You want a thin, shiny layer without any blobs or lumps or bumps. And then I'm going to put my other paper over it, overlap it. And then I like to give it a massage for about 10 seconds to make sure this attachment is super strong. And I count to 10 in my head while I'm doing this. See? And we are not going to put it all up like this because it's hard to color on this surface without folding it. So we're going to lie it flat to decorate it, and then when it's all decorated, we are going to fold it up. Okay, so we're going to fill our crowns with symbols, just like Jean-Michel Basquiat filled his artwork with different symbols. Symbols are things that we recognize from the world, that have kind of a meaning to them. And a lot of art uses symbols, a lot of graphics use symbols. For example, the swoosh that looks kind of like a check mark, Nike uses that so that everyone knows that sneakers and clothes are Nike, and that makes them look kind of and it makes us think of kind of like fast motion and aerodynamics. Jean-Michel Basquiat uses a crown to give the people in his artwork a kind of regal vibe, kind of like kings and queens in a fairy tale. And if you used, and you can see symbols everywhere. If you used red, yellow, and green together, that would remind us of a stoplight. If we use stars and stripes, that would remind us of the American flag. So we're going to add some symbols, some drawings, some interesting details on our crown. I think I'm going to add some nature-related symbols. That's what I'm feeling. But you can add whatever designs you want onto your crown. And you can choose the supplies you use. I'm going to use markers and crayons, but you can use collage if you want. Like I have some bits of paper, including this really cool gold chocolate wrapper, and some scissors and glue. You can do that. You can use crayons, markers, colored pencils. I did a couple with a watercolor pencil and oil pastel that came out pretty cool. So you can choose your own adventure on this project. And you're going to cover this with designs and details and interesting elements. Let's get started. Okay, and for this part, I recommend using a pencil first so that you can erase and then go in with your crayons or markers if that's what you're doing. Ta-da! So I decorated my crown with flowers. This wavy line reminded me a bit of a vine, and I just really like drawing flowers, and I think that maybe I'm craving the springtime because it is pretty snowy out, as you can see through this door. And I don't know, I just wanted to go springtimey with my artwork. The last thing you have to do is put a little glue or tape right here. It's hard to do holding it up. A little line of glue, and then we're going to hold it again for 10 seconds and smooth it out to make sure we have a good connection. Especially because this is something that's going to move around if you're going to wear it, right? Ta-da! Here's my crown. I love this project because it's 3D and you can take it in all kinds of directions. I did a nature-themed one, a Star Wars one using watercolor pencil and oil pastel, and I did another one with shapes and lines. So you can add your own ideas to this and it'll be really awesome and fun. But have fun making art inspired by Jean-Michel Basquiat. Bye. Have fun making art.